subscribe.
They commanded a hell of a lot of respect. The name was very, very well known and very, very feared. I can assure you of that. Very feared. Charlie was a joking bloke, very nice fella. My opinion, never was a villain and never would have been a villain. Reggie, you look at him in his eyes, you smell fear. And fear came over Ronnie, you know, oozed out of him. He had a smile, almost to take it two ways. Either he's smiling at you because you're going to get hurt, or he's smiling at you because he likes you. I mean, Ronnie would be laughing and joking about, all of a sudden, he'd pick on you.
My mother was simply a wonderful woman. No man ever had a finer mother. He often had no money and very little food, but she always made sure that Reggie and Charlie and I had something to eat and something half decent to wear. She never gave in to despair or frustration. Even when times were bleak and the future seemed to hold nothing, I would kill any man who spoke ill of my mother.
I met them through Charlie, their brother Charlie, who was older than them, and then the twins were only young then, but there was something about them that was destined for to be notorious, you know, because they was a bit unruly, to say the least. I remember the first time I went to their home, they were out in the backyard punching the daylights out of each other, you know, and the old man and Charlie had to go out and stop them. But he used to say to me, Charlie, have a word with them, you know, the twins, and see if he can talk some sense into them. But of course they was too young and fiery. They wouldn't listen to what you had to say. They go in one ear and out the other. They still do what they wanted to do.
The Krays had got something about them that was almost indefinable. To say that they were personalities is wrong, because they projected an aura of evil, of power. They would resort to violence at the slightest provocation to establish a reputation. And this they did very, very successfully, so that not only foreigners and people that intruded into the East End, but members of their own gang respected them because of that violence.
They were frightening to everybody in the East End, yes, they were. They call each other names and want to fight each other, but if you interfered, then you were the enemy, and the two of them would turn on you, you know, so you had to be very careful how you behaved around them.
They thought they was untouchable, and they thought they could get away with, you know, no one was going to give evidence against them.
They only went into people that were breaking the law. You know, like if you had a publican who was having a laugh-to-timer, then they could go into him. Or if they had a club where they were doing illegal gambling, dice, spieling or something like that, they would go into them. They want their whack. But no way could they ever go into straight people. Because first, if they come into you, the first thing you do is pick the phone up, give it the police. And that was it.
This tremendous power to terrify was the Kray twins' greatest weapon.
Just Ronnie just have to glare at some people when they shit themselves. That was one of his favourite tricks. He would sit in a pub or a club where we were, and people would be brought in for various reasons, and he could just sit there and stare at this person for half an hour, and that person he hasn't said a word to him, and that person's gone away and thoroughly cowed, you know, been told off without a word. That was how much fear that he generated.
It was a summer's evening, and I realised that a car had drawn up immediately outside the door, and looked outside. It's a big American-type car, and a guy stepped out of the car, put with his hand in his pocket, as though he had a gun in his pocket, and he sort of swept the street, looking up and down, and making sure that there was no one inside, and then gave a signal, and the back door opened, and out stepped Ronnie Kray. And I was amazed, because he was dressed for all the world
like a 1930s Chicago gangster. He had a long, long cashmere coat that reached to his ankles, tied in a loose belt at the waist. His hair was greased and parted, and he wore his glasses. And then he swept across the pavement and into the pub, and he looked to me like Al Capone without his fedora.
A lot of people think that you've got a lot of money sorted away.
We haven't, no.
Did you? I think that's a good point. Did you ever put money away, thousands away, like people think?
No. We spend all that money. Spend all that money and give it away.
Okay, give it away.
Charities and give it away.
Oh, they were violent, all right, cool, yeah. Charlie was different altogether. Charlie I respected.
For Ron, killing was not enough. He wanted people to see him kill in cold blood. And he wanted his brother to do it too.
I think they were so carried away by the role they'd got themselves into as gangster killers. They had to do it, frankly.
So Ron murdered George Cornell in the Blind Beggar pub. His bloodlust was sated for a while. But somehow it wasn't enough. He knew the taboo on killing had to be broken again on the Krays' bloody road to fame. Ron boasted about having personally killed a man. He goaded Reg, saying that if he could kill, why couldn't his brother do the same?
It was the thing with it with Reg and Ronnie, that if Ronnie did something, then he would Reggie thought he had to do it as well. And that's how they was. He does it, I'll do it. You can do it, I can do it.
Ron cranked up the pressure. He began taunting Reg in public.
Ronnie shouting out to him, but if you're going to shoot anybody, make sure you shoot him in the head, like I did Cornell. Out loud. Maybe because of Ronnie killing Cornell, he thought he had to kill, he had to do a murder as well.
Reg, crazy with booze and grief, finally agreed to kill someone.
And Reggie, I've got to go and do something. He's winding me up, he's driving me mad. I want to go and shoot someone.
Reg chose his victim. He would be a likeable Irish robber called Jack McVitie, nicknamed Jack the Hat, because he always wore one to cover his baldness. McVitie believed the Krays had swindled him out of several £1,000s. He told anyone who would listen he was going to shoot them. On October the 28th, 1966, members of the firm told McVitie there was a party at a private apartment. When he arrived, the twins were waiting. Reg was behind the door with a gun. Ron stuck a glass in McVitie's face. Reg tried to shoot McVitie in the head, but his gun jammed. He grabbed a kitchen knife and butchered McVitie brutally. And so Jack the Hat McVitie was murdered by Reg because Ron pressured him to kill, just as he himself had done a few months before. Both twins were now killers and bonded in blood. McVitie's body was never found. The twins made sure all their victims simply disappeared off the face of the earth. The Kray twins' lives were now in crisis. Ron's desire to be a famous gangster ratcheted up the violence, and Reg was submissively going along with it. Reg felt the death of Jack the Hat would mean trouble, and it did. Unknown to the Krays, London police were closing in. After the McVitie and Cornell murders, a top-secret investigation was being launched with orders to get the Krays at all costs.
Police got interested in them because only become really interested in them when they knew about the murders. That's when the police become very interested in the Krays.
Krays got wind of the investigation, but it was already too late. On the morning of May the 9th, 1968, the criminal empire of London's most feared gangsters would crash around them. A special police task force had patched together evidence linking the Krays to the murders of George Cornell and Jack the Hat McVitie. Police surrounded the tower block the Krays had lived in since the old family house had been demolished less than a year before. At 6 in the morning, the police raced into the building and smashed open the door of the Krays' apartment. Reg and Ron were surprised in their beds. and arrested. The Krays' 10-year reign of terror was finally over, but their legend was only beginning. In 1968, London's most notorious gangsters, the Kray twins, were finally brought to justice. Throughout their lives they had stuck together, plotted together, fought together, even killed together. And now they were going to prison together. The Krays' trial created a sensation.
I was very shocked by the change in their appearance, because you could see Reggie's life was written on his face, and he wasn't happy. He wasn't enjoying it at all. I think he was terrified. He knew that he was not going to see the light of day again.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please join our Facebook group. It's called Krays Crime Lords of London. We're a friendly, moderated group with over 1,000 Kray and other celebrated gangster videos available for view. There's also thousands of images in the photos sections. The link for the group is in the YouTube description section. I hope we see you there soon.
Leave a like and subscribe.